What is up? Yo, Jay, what's good? Appreciate you actually being here on time. I was not. Actually, if you see my head, I'm kind of sweating because I ran from outside running errands so that I could get here at 8. But do you hear me? Does everything sound good, Jay? Anyone else watching in the chat? Are we good? Live? Hear anyone? Hear me? Good, good. Yes, no, maybe so. Thumbs up. Excited to be able to talk about new comic book day, Superman, Invincible verses, a lot of cool things. Appreciate you, JK Ultra. Were you in the chat last week, Ultra? Like I feel like I messed up and did not have the Discord link right when you asked for it. And I was like, I ended the stream and I'm like, oh my god, I don't have their information. I can't send it to them in anything. So hopefully we got that fixed. But yes, a lot of cool comics. This was amazing. Like if you haven't seen it, this like or read it, sorry. Nick Dragotta, Scott Snyder, amazing. But how are you all? Are you guys good? I'm good. I had a productive day, which, doesn't usually happen on days like this. I just get my comics, and eat ice cream sandwiches. So it felt good to run some errands. Sweet. Let's see. What else we have? I got Marvel Rivals Ignite. That was cool. I really got it to kind of like review it for Marvel Rival stuff. Does really well on the channel. But I do like Peach Momoko, and she's done some really cool skins for the game. And then there's Def, a Silver Surfer. Marvel does this weird thing where whenever there's a character to promote in a movie, they're like, let's kill him. So that's gonna be fun. And then one of the books that I'm most excited to read is Robin and Batman, Jason Todd. Jeff Lemire, their last Robin and Batman was amazing. So that's really cool. I have Aquaman somewhere. Please don't tell me I lost it. Ooh. But Aquaman was amazing. I think that's issue 5 or issue 6. That book is so good, so consistently good. If you're not reading Jeremy Adams, Aquaman, please do that. But yeah, exciting week for a lot of stuff. What I'm gonna do actually is go through some stuff like in terms of like what came out this week. We'll also talk about Superman, which the tickets went on sale today, so exciting stuff on that regard. I have not bought my tickets because I'm a procrastinator. If you got those Prime tickets, awesome! Like get to see the movie like 3 days early. I know a lot of people checked out the trailer today, which was the final trailer. I did not watch it. I'm trying to kind of like the last trailer that came out. I'm like, that's the last one I'm gonna see. But I'm really tempted because I keep seeing screenshots and little clips on Twitter, Threads, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. So I feel like I'm being forced to watch the full trailer. But yeah, let's go into it. Let's look into some things. I'm really excited about New Comic Book Day. I still haven't read all my pile, but you saw what I got. But we'll go through that right now. So I'm on League of Comic Geeks. If you're not familiar, it's basically Letterbox for comics. These are the new comics for the week. We already talked about Absolute Batman. I've read like one issue of Ultimate X-Men. I feel like I have to like read that in trade and catch up on that. Transformers, I fell off of too. I feel like I've been trade waiting that book as well. Action Comics, honestly, ever since Philip Kennedy Johnson hopped off the book, I haven't been reading it. There's been sort of like a rotation of writers and artists. There was a time where they were shipping it like once a week, which was like insanity to me. So I kind of jumped off of the book. But now that it seems like Mark Waid is the consistent writer and you have like this Superboy story, I think I'm going to actually sort of start picking it up. So I kind of regret not picking it up when I was at the shop. Ultimate Black Panther. This is a book I fell off of as well, but Brian Edward Hill is probably writing the best Black Panther book at Marvel right now. It's just consistently good. I know I haven't read it in a while to say it's consistently good, but those first couple issues, like it felt like this is what a Black Panther book should be. One World Under Doom, I gave it a shot. I just can't with Marvel events these days. Something is Killing the Children is on issue 42. That is insane. When I like that was the book of like the pandemic that like popped, got super popular. They were supposed to make a Netflix show. I don't know if they're still making it, like, but at the early, at least that first arc was amazing. I do have, you know, not to flex, um, this, which is the hardcover for the first arc. It's actually signed by James Tynion and the artist, which is cool. James Tynion is actually doing a signing, I think, right now at Midtown Comics. So if you're in New York City, run over there because I think you only have 10 minutes to make that signing. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by Jason Aaron. Not reading it. Batman and Robin. I love Philip Kennedy Johnson. Oh, actually, Etrigan is in this. I might actually have to read this. I kind of fell off of it because the way he was writing Damien was like very childlike, and it seemed I. And this is comics. Like anytime a writer jumps on something, they're gonna kind of almost put their own spin on it. Sometimes ignore what the previous writers were doing. Not to say that I was like too beholden to what was going on in the previous like Damien writers, and Joshua Williamson. It just seemed like like Damien had grown up a little bit, you know, in terms of like physical age and also maturity, like in terms of his personality. And it seemed like, you know, Philip Kennedy Johnson's writing more of a like younger Damien story, like Batman, like father son, which I like, but it takes a while to kind of like unwind what Damien's been through the last couple years. Magic, not reading it. X-Men, exceptional X-Men, absolutely not. Spawn 365. Spawn is a great art book, but I like if there's a really cool cover, I'll pick it up, but not reading it consistently. Batman Dark Patterns, that is something I need to catch up on. Dan Waters is one of the best writers in the game. Hayden Sherman is a superstar now after Absolute Wonder Woman. Geiger 15, consistently good. Jeff Johns, Brad Anderson, Gary Frank, really good stuff. If you're not reading that, like all of the Ghost Machine stuff is really solid. Death of the Silver Surfer, we kind of talked about it. I got it because it's a cool cover and I feel like that's going to be an iconic image, but I cannot stand Marvel's like way of marketing their own books, like their own characters that are in movies. That is like, hey, there's a new character in a movie, why don't we kill him? You know, they did that with Kamala Khan. They did that with Doctor Strange. It's just like, hey, there are other ways to kind of like highlight this character than being like, let's do the death of this character. It can, yes, Dark Patterns. I've heard it's like I've read the first couple issues, but I've fallen off a little bit. You're what's good, you know. Chilling, you know, going through the new comic book day stuff. Uh Phoenix I haven't been reading. World Tree, I don't think I even read the first issue of that, but James Tynan has been doing great work like with all the indie stuff they've been doing. Aquaman 6, this like DC has so many great books. Like like I almost stopped like I was about to say this is the most fun DC book, but I could say that about like so many other ones. So, but Jeremy Adams, Michael Shelfer was on this one. I think the cover artist is still John Timms. I will say Shelfer does a pretty good job of making the art consistent, which is good. Anytime you have a ongoing book, there's nothing worse than them getting a fill-in artist that is completely different than the regular artist, and it makes no like they've been doing that with a little bit with Ultimate Wolverine, but with Ultimate Wolverine, like the guest artist kind of fits the type of story they're telling for that issue, so it's not like that big of a deal. But sometimes like you're like, hey, what was editorial thinking with that? Because it almost makes you want to fall off the book. You're like, this is so weird. But I read the issue on the train, still so good. Oh no, we appreciate you, you know, jumping in. You know, I get it. We all have to work, got to pay the bills, got to figure out how to pay for all these collectibles, you know, these Labubus that I'm now into now. So I get it. What else is out this week? I don't have it on here either, but Lost Fantasy is another one that's really good. New Avengers right here. I thought about picking this up. but I was not reading the Thunderbolts, and everyone on this team outside of the Incredible Hulk, I had no idea what they've been up to in the last few years in Marvel, so I kind of skipped it. Green Lantern Corps, that Jeremy Adams, Morgan Hampton, solid. Supergirl, I think I read a preview and a backup issue, and I was like, huh, maybe, maybe not. New Adventures does look like dumb fun. I thought about it. The cover looked like it, and I thought it was cool that the solicitation changed after the movie's like name changed. That was really fun. So, it looks like the art, at least from the cover, is good. Lost Fantasy and Free Planet are very good. I have not read Free Planet, and I think I saw the second printing on the shelf, and I missed it the first time around, and I was like, oh, should I get it? But then I had a pretty big stack already, so I was like, you know what? Maybe if it goes on Global Comics or something. But I know they were on the show, the writer, and they did a lot of great interviews with a lot of great podcasts. That kind of sold me on the book, and I was like, I need to pick that up. Carnage, Eddie Brock. Don't know what's going on there. Giant Size Amazing Spider-Man. I think these are like where they put Kamala Khan in different points in Marvel history, to make it make sense that she's a mutant now. I don't know what to make of it, but it's going on. Oh, Giant Size Dark Phoenix Saga. Yeah, that's what's going on. That is what is going on. DC versus Vampires. I've been reading this on Infinite. I haven't been picking it up as it goes on, but by Matt Rosenberg, the issues are really fun and like really action packed. If you're a fan of Deceased or Injustice, I feel like, or Dark Knights of Steel, I feel like that is a really good book. That's only the X-Men one. Giant Size Spidey is separate. They just need to give her a book at this point. If they're putting her in everyone else's book, I feel like they should just give her an ongoing book and really build her up instead of putting her in teams and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think she's had a rough couple years between dying, being reborn as a mutant, then being in NYX, which that book was canceled, and now being in different events and giant size books. I hope, when she comes back in the movies, they really, do a better job of highlighting her as a character. I Hate Fairyland 41. Wow. That's high. Spider Girl. I did not read Spider Boy. This looks like a cool cover though. Mutant Nation, a part of the TMNT publishing line. I think a lot of these books have been solid based on like some of the reviews I've been seeing. New Champions, Lost Fantasy. First issue was amazing. This second issue is a giant size issue. And the price, I don't think it went up. It was only like 48 pages for $5. Like, that's insane for a comic these days. Like, Marvel will charge you $10 for that. So if you're not reading Lost Fantasy, great. It's very like, if you like manga or anime, like it's very much like in that vein. I hope the X-Men doesn't make a-holes to Spider-Man. For some reason, in comics, they kept making X-Men act a-holes to Peter Parker. I mean, I always saw them as they have this weird relationship. Like, because when I first saw Spider-Man and X-Men crossover when I was a kid was in the Spider-Man animated series, when he was going through his mutation and he was like, he was going at it with Wolverine and he was like, I'm not a mutant. And they're like, it sounds like you got a mutation, man. So to me, there's always been some type of like, back and forth between them, and like in the Marvel universe, it's like, hey, if you're born with your powers, you're a mutant. If you got them in an accident, you're not a mutant. So I think there's always like that funny dynamic in the Marvel Universe comics. In the MCU, who knows if they'll cross paths? There's like such a long list of characters that need to like cross paths that maybe will never cross paths because of like the multiverse and what's going to happen with that, Doomsday, Secret Wars. But again, my experience with Spidey and the X-Men, at least my first experience, was like, hey, they always had a little bit of tension. Oh, the first time I saw X Men with Spider Man was the old Ultimate Spider Man comics, a earliest 2000s baby. Okay, I'm a early 90s baby, so you could be my little brother or little sister. But those Ultimate books were fun. X Men kind of fizzled out, but Spider Man was going to the very end. I do hope the newer. I have to go back and read a lot of that Ultimate stuff, like, and maybe make a video on it because I do like the Ultimates now. I do like a lot of those books. They're kind of like the only books I'm reading at Marvel right now. But I do have fond memories of that early like Ultimates, like the Ultimate Avengers like animated movie. Those books were in the shop, like not in the comic shop. Like I would go to the grocery store, like the deli, and they had them still on the newsstand. Appreciate you, Burke. Thank you for dropping by before you have to mow the lawn. Appreciate that. And then Green Lantern Corps, we talked about that. Fire and Ice, not reading that, but I think this is a Terry Dodson cover, so it looks like Etrigan is getting a lot of love this month, so that's cool. A Terry Dodson and Rachel Dodson cover with Etrigan. I think I just might. This is a cover buy. That might be a cover buy. I think that's it. Oh no, that's not it. What else? What else? The actual good Jeff Loeb Batman book, Legends of the Dark Knight Halloween special. Like that's it's not Hush. Far down below number 3, Mad Cave. That looks interesting, but I haven't read it. Forgot to grab this today, which Burke will know. I always forget things, but I think this is the third printing of DC X Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, look at this, like Batman homage. That's cool. Yeah, all these other books I am not, Dark Regards. I have issue 1 somewhere, and I have to read that. Batman number 9. A lot of facsimiles. Absolute Batman number 4 went to a third printing. That's insane. Battle Beast, that was getting a second printing. Like the amount of covers and books they sold last month I bought 2 of them. Anything else that I'm interested in? Do you like Tomboys? Maybe I do like that book. Maybe I should get that. Yeah, it looks like that's pretty much it for me today. Captain Planet and the Planeteers number 2. Still haven't read number 1. Thundercats. Yeah, looks like I did pretty good today when it comes to picking up the comic books that I did not forget. Which manga artist you want to see do a Marvel comic? Sadly, I'm really bad with knowing manga artists, like, and the names of the creators of mangas that I love. But I will say, I have some right behind me. So I'll show you what is my favorite right now. If he's still in the chat, Kagurabachi is my favorite manga right now. I love this book. I am on volume 3 right now. And who is the artist? Tekuro Han Hokozano. I botched that. But love this book. I would love to see them do a Marvel book one day. That will be cool. I would love to see them do a DC book, preferably. Like, imagine like this type of story in the DC universe. Like, that would be cool. Actually, now that you kind of put me on the spot, like, if they did a Jason Todd Red Hood story, like, that would go crazy hard. I want to see Yusuke Murata do a Marvel comic. What does Yusuke draw right now? I probably know their work, but I just don't know their name. I don't remember the mangaverse stuff. Like, I remember like the anime movies they were doing like right before like the MCU or early MCU, like when they were doing like X-Men anime. I think they did like a Blade one and stuff like that. Like a couple like animated movies. One Punch Man. I love the first 2 seasons of One Punch Man. I've never read the manga though, but I heard. Is that like, does he do like a kind of like slice of life manga as well? That's like really popular. I feel like that's that person. The manga verse was really bad. It basically felt they were just using manga art style for sales rather than fully diving into Japanese art style. That sucks. But I mean, I will say what's cool about how popular Peach Momoko has gotten over the years. You know, Peach got really popular doing these covers, and they have her on Ultimate X-Men. Like, she's doing a Ultimate X-Men book on a monthly basis, which is like insane. You know, I've read more of that Ultimate X-Men than the X books that are going on right now, even though I haven't read much of it. But yeah, like, look, like, this is like the Marvel Rivals comic that she's doing right now. And it definitely feels like, you know, like that Ultimate X-Men is like YA horror style, like really kind of like taking a lot of notes from, I mean, Peach is Japanese, so, you know, the influence is there. I do wish, like, DC does a good job of taking the manga influence when it comes to, you know, their format, like these collected editions. I know, Karma, you're a big Marvel fan just based on your comments, but like, this format is a great way to get into DC Comics. It's $10, the same way a manga would be. You get full color, the full story, like, and also DC. I mean, Marvel does this too, but DC has, like, recently they had like the Joker manga, which had Joker like being the dad to Batman, which was insane. I think Marvel has like a, what was it, like Octo Spidey Girl or something like that, which is like, they have the Deadpool manga, which I hear is really popular. Like, All Might is in that book, which is crazy. So I think they do a better job of actually like doing manga when they like let Viz and some of the actual Japanese like manga publishers do it. Anytime it's like Marvel handling it, like the actual like Marvel editorial or the DC editorial, like, it's always gonna fail because they just don't know it. But now that we finished with comic talk a little bit, let's talk about this, which I thought was pretty insane when they announced it. Um, 1 second. I apologize for the ads.
I wasn't.
But Invincible versus, like, this was crazy. I didn't expect them to announce an Invincible game in the Xbox showcase. And it's a fighting game. We got an Invincible 3v3 tag game before we got Injustice 3. We also got Marvel Token before we got Injustice 3. So as a DC fan, it sucks right now. And I might have to take down a couple of my DC stuff pretty soon if Superman isn't great. But I am really excited about this game. I know a lot of people are like, oh, like, it's a fighting game, you'll stop playing it after a week. So, hey, most games these days I'm done with after a week just because none of them hold your attention like they used to. And I have a job. This opens my hope for a Spawn game. Yeah, Spawn, you know, like, that was what's crazy is that, like, you know, there's so many video game publishers, and especially smaller ones. Like, I don't get why they don't use, like, try to license some of these indie, like, comic books. Like, I'm sure Invincible was on the table before, or like Radiant Black. That would be a really great game. Any of the Ghost Machine stuff, like Geiger, Rook, especially, Red Coat, like, these could be great video game franchises where, you know, there's not much, like, you could do a lot more with them because there's no like preconceived notions of them. Like, people have an idea of what Spider-Man is and stuff. So if you do something like Red Coat, you can do like a crazy game, and I'm sure the licensing fee wouldn't be as high as it would be as for a Wolverine or a Spider-Man or a Batman. Man, DC needs to move away from Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers keeps making awful decisions, like they refused the Batman Beyond animated movie and the Wonder Woman game that was canceled. Yes, they are being split into two companies once again after being combined into one company. I did make a video about their poor decisions and how it led to this situation where they have no good games out, and as a fan, that sucks because we don't really have movies out either. And hopefully Superman is super good and we see sort of like an explosion of DC characters, and whether it be TV, animation, video games. Just based on a response to this last trailer, I think we're headed in that direction. If it crosses $1 billion, which fingers crossed, we are so back as a fan base. I think I'm gonna make a video about what happened to superhero games. Unlucky Dreamer, you should. I've thought about it. It would take a lot of research, and sadly, I don't have the time to do it. So I think, but what's cool is like Marvel has really sort of figured it out. Like Wolverine probably is never coming out, but like Guardians of the Galaxy is not just like one of my favorite like video games. It's one of my favorite like, I mean, not one of my favorite like comic book games. It's one of my favorite games. Like I love playing that, you know. Also, what else? Recently, like both Spider-Man games, Miles Morales. I know a lot of people were down on like the second Spider-Man, but I had a really good time. It's like my son's favorite game, so I think that would be a good video topic. Especially like it used to be so many different license games. Like we used to get so many like 70, like 7 out of 10s, you know what I mean? Like Spider-Man used to come out with a game like every year. Like when they were at like Activision or THQ, they would like, you had Web of Shadows, you had Shattered Dimension. There were so many different Spider-Man games out. Then X-Men too, like you had X-Men like Destiny, you had X-Men Legends 1 and 2, you had X-Men Academy. I think that was the fighting game back in the day. Marvel vs. Capcom, Ultimate Alliance. So, or even the like the games that were based on the movies, like you had X2, the Wolverine's Revenge, which was really good. So there's such a rich history with superhero video games. You can make like a 2 hour video if you wanted to. And even my video on DC Comics and like sort of like how they shape up to Marvel, which was only like 10 minutes or so. Like had I had the time to sort of dig deeper and sort of put more historical context in it, it could have easily been half an hour to an hour. So I think there's a big opportunity to kind of make that video and really make it your own. And I think there's a big interest in it now, especially with Marvel Token coming out. People still like hoping Wolverine comes out, and DC being in shambles. Yeah, there's definitely a video there. I just want to focus on the lack of AAA games, though. Yeah, but I will say, like, when it comes to the AAA side of it, I think AAA games in general, we don't get that many at like in general that much anymore, because all these games, everyone's trying to make a live service game, and it costs 200-300 million dollars, 5-7 years of development to make these games. So even like, for example, if Superman's a huge success and there's a bunch of licenses to like AAA games and stuff like that, you we're probably not going to see the fruit of that like investment until like at least 5 years from now. And it's the same thing with Marvel. Like Marvel, like they gave up their Disney gave up their gaming division a while ago, and it wasn't until like a couple years ago where you really started to see sort of like, oh, like this is what they were planning. Marvel Rivals did it well. Yes, Marvel Rivals is kind of like the perfect platform to get people more into those characters. I wish there was a DC Rivals, but sadly they just make, weird mobile games that, look like ads you see on TikTok or YouTube ads. DC should make games like DC Ultimate Alliance or Batman Ninja movie game that's like in the style of Ghost of Tsushima. That would be awesome. And if they license out their games, they could do both at the same time, but they don't. I think I actually read that they're gonna start like sometime last year. They said they were open to it, but who knows if they're actually having genuine conversations about that. Yeah, that's what I want to talk about, because all companies are abandoning the long development process for games and just want to make fighting games. Listen, fighting games are fine. They're hype. And you could get really talented studios that know what they're doing to get it done. But it's just weird. I don't know. I think a lot of these companies forgot how to make games because they just don't. they don't make them anymore. Like it just takes so long. Who knows if it's just like management, which I'd imagine it probably is. You have these big corporations with a lot of managers and all that kind of stuff, and there's a lot of things involved in terms of like approval process, all that kind of stuff, and also like their expectations of like the fan base. Like, hey, if you're gonna sell a $80 game now, like it better be worth $80. So they're focusing on the wrong things, like water effects versus like gameplay and actually shipping a functioning game. So it just sucks. It sucks because I think we as consumers and fans lose out, because as cool as a fighting game is, like it's still a limited like market, in terms of like how popular that could be. Like I think in terms of sales, like I don't know like what the sales numbers are, but like even Mortal Kombat, which is kind of like, people kind of like hate on it a lot. It does really well sales wise because it has like a story mode to it, and that's how you get general audiences to play it. That's why I play it. I suck at fighting games. I grew up with a brother that was way better than me at fighting games, so I don't play them. I play them for the story, like Injustice and Mortal Kombat, but Street Fighter, not for me. Marvel also does mobile games as well. Yes, they do. They have like Contests of Champions. They have cheap looking ones as well. But they also have Marvel Rivals and all that kind of stuff. DC, on the other hand, just has the mobile games and DC Universe Online and nothing else. And where lies like the problem with DC. They don't have anything going on outside of those mobile games. Those mobile games, hey, they pay the bills. There's a bunch of people that buy microtransactions in it and stuff like that. So I get why they exist. I get why they do them, and they're gonna always exist. But you do need to have a Marvel Rivals, an Injustice, a Guardians of the Galaxy. You need those other things, and DC doesn't have them. Arc System Works have been making fighting games for years. Exactly. And that's why they were able, after Dragon Ball Fighters, turn over and made Marvel Token, which looks fantastic. They're fine, but right now I'm in Arc with my channel, just talking about the abandonment of stories in common day media. Yeah, Dreamer, I think there's a lot, like, growing up, there were so many cool like action cartoons like Ben 10, other things. Like there was great programming on Cartoon Network, like when it Toonami. So there are like all these things I'm introduced to like as a kid, whether it be like Batman, Spider-Man. There were just places you could go see it, and it just seems like as a parent, for example, kids these days don't have that. They don't have like those kind of stories. Who knows where the money went? It went somewhere. Uh, and it just seems like that is why the games are important too, because the games are how people are introduced to these things. Like that's why Marvel Rivals is so popular, and that's why like every time I make a Marvel Rivals video, I'm like, oh, like Marvel should really capitalize on this, because this is kids' version of Spider-Man the animated series, X-Men the animated series, Batman the animated series. It's how they get into comics. And if you sort of let that go by, it's the same thing what happened with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You were like on top for a long time, and then you failed to kind of like build a readership or get people that were watching those movies to read the comics. And now the movies aren't great, and now you're stuck because for the past couple years there haven't been great stories told in the comics to adapt into the movies. So when you finish with Secret Wars, what do you have left? Empire? I don't know. Imperial, which they're working on now. But enough ranting about Marvel Rivals. I do that enough in plenty of the videos I've made. What's up, Bats? How you feeling? Marvel art. I haven't seen Murata's Marvel artwork. It did. Was he the one that I seen the art with Deku and Spider-Man? I thought that was pretty cool. I've seen it was cool when some of the American artists or U.S. comic artists did, because Jorge Jimenez is from Spain, but he did like a couple like really cool like manga covers, and he did the covers for the the Naruto TMNT, and then Ryan Otley. I think Ryan Otley, who does Invincible, I think he did like a My Hero Academia one, which was cool. They're capitalizing. They have a Magic series and an Emma Frost series dropping next week, I think. Yeah, I mean those characters like they're already popular, but like I think the problem with some of it is that like they'll do like a mini series or they'll rush the series out without like a strong like creative team or a strong like artist. And I don't know if that's the case with these books. I haven't read them, but generally like in what they've done in the past. So when people go to the shop and look for this book, they're like, this is not great, or this is not what how cool they are in the video game, and people drop it, and then you know you lose a reader. Or another problem is, yes, it's cool to have something in the comic shop, but also because you haven't really built up like Magic in a significant way, a lot of people go to Barnes and Noble or bookstores to get graphic novels, and if there isn't a Magic graphic novel on the shelf at the time when those things are popular, again, you lose interest. I brought this up in several videos, but when WandaVision was popping off, House of M was out of print, which is like the biggest like Scarlet Witch story you could find. So after the show is done, then you bring it back into print, and the interest is gone. The hype, the potential sales, all that kind of stuff is just gone out the window. Marvel needs to use the comics to sell skins like Batman Fortnite. Batman Fortnite was such a success. Like when I was in the shop when that was going on, like literally parents were calling the store to be like, "Hey, do you have this Batman Fortnite?" And I think with the Marvel Rivals comic, one of the like big missed opportunities is that like yes, it's a Marvel Rivals comic, but like a Jeff spray, like you couldn't come up with like an exclusive skin, or like hey, if you collect all 5 issues and get all these codes, you unlock like something crazy. A Jeff spray, that's all you could come up with. Like that's not gonna sell the book. It's like yes, people are really excited to see Marvel Rivals on the title of a comic book, but like the thing that gets people from the outside of the comic shop to go to the comic shop is like, hey, let's work with the publisher to create like a crazy incentive so people go get it. Like with Thunderbolts, I think they had like an exclusive like Bucky skin or something like that, and they forced Sebastian Stan to say, armed and dangerous again, again and again. It's because we don't have network channels on TV. Like it was so special when your animated show got on network, like Cartoon Network, Disney, Nickelodeon. Now it's digital content like Netflix. Yes, it is hard, and I think it's hard to like promote things too. Like, they do need to figure out how like it'll be cool, and I'm sure there's some version of this that exists. I see a lot of like older networks like have like 24-hour live streams of their old stuff on YouTube for free, which is really a good idea, I think, because that's how like kids watch TV now. But there's no new stuff, and I think that's how like we as fans of like Marvel of DC may get tired of this stuff. Like, I used to have other stuff and other interests outside of Batman and Spider-Man. So there has to be like a healthy, and I think that's why a lot of people have gone to manga and those things, because those are really strong. And even me, like I have sort of taken on manga as like my second sort of thing, where I'm like, oh, like this is where I read other stories or engage in these kind of stories outside of comics. Chip Zdarsky's Captain America is dropping next month. That will probably be good. Yes, I am excited for that. Hopefully he's able to do more on that book than Batman, because I know Batman's like a hard title to write for. The last couple writers, did not have a good time sort of like being able to break out and all that kind of stuff. I liked what some of the stuff that Chip was doing, but I don't think it was like groundbreaking, and I think when you're on a Bat book, there's a lot of pressure. Kohei, yeah, the My Hero Academia author. We need Big Booty Sue variant cover month. I think they've already done that. There's a J. Scott Campbell variants of all the Marvel Rival stuff. I think of Ignite. Yeah, like J. Scott Campbell has like a Sue, Emma, I think a Black Widow variant. So if that's what you're looking for, Bats, you can find it. uh, Switching topics, like kind of back to Superman and that trailer. Like the tickets on sale today, crazy. It's the biggest ticket sale day of the year so far. Fandango crashed momentarily. So it looks like we're going to have a big summer for Jurassic World, Superman, and then Fantastic Four. I think Superman is going to be the biggest just based on like the online discussion, but who knows? Maybe I'm in a bubble of my own DC-ness and I don't see people really excited about Fantastic Four the same way. But I am super excited just based on some of the like little tidbits I've seen of the trailer, which I'm trying to avoid. I'll try to stay strong for you guys, but I will probably make a video on the marketing of Superman because I think it's been fantastic. They really turned it up. It was quiet. It kind of looked like, oh man, it's gonna be rough when you saw that puppy bowl, and all they had was Guy Gardner, touching his hair and all that stuff. I was like, man, we are cooked. But this last couple weeks, and it looks like they're like ramping up the marketing from TV, internet, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. They're using every channel they can to make sure that people know that Superman is happening. And I love it. It really is the summer of Superman. And as a DC fan, I need them to win something. I have to be able to. I have a channel on YouTube, and I have to be able to defend myself when people are like, "Why do you even like DC like that?" But it looks good. I'm excited for that. And there's a lot of great DC comics. Like I said, Absolute Batman is pretty awesome. And where are my other books? I feel like they're probably in my bag. But I also got Absolute Superman, which was pretty good. I think I missed it last week, and I got it this week. Again, Lost Fantasy was really good. I just have to finish issue 2. But yeah, what are you guys reading? Is there anything that you guys want to talk about before I hop off? This was a little bit shorter than previous streams, but I wanted to make it happen. I literally ran from outside to come in because I've committed to making this a weekly show, and hopefully we can make it every Wednesday at 8. I really appreciate you all being here. Like anytime I see someone in the chat, I'm like, yes, someone showed up. So I really appreciate all of you. And also, if you're listening and not in the chat, please join the Discord in the link. The community is growing. This last year, I think in July, I make 1 year on this personal channel. And if no one's subscribed since I hopped on, we are 1 subscriber away from 3,000 subs, which is insane to do in under a year, especially when you're just talking about like comic books. So I appreciate every single one of you that have subbed, liked. Even if you've disliked a video, it's helped in the algorithm some way. So it's been really cool, a really cool ride to be able to talk comics. I'm getting older and I don't go out as much. I don't stay in the shop as much. So this is my way of having shop talk, comic shop talk. Just being online, talking to you guys has been so cool. And like even that DC video did super well, and it's crazy that some people have the same opinion. Some people are like, you're crazy to think that DC ever had better games than Marvel. It was just the Arkham games, and maybe they're right, but hey, it's not illegal now to have an opinion. So it's I'm really proud of what we've been able to do over this. Karma, again, that's an opinion. Marvel's always, listen, I was gonna like go crazy responding to comments on like on the video, and I'm gonna respond to a lot of them because I always appreciate when people comment and take the time to watch the video and comment, even if they disagree with what I'm saying. But at best, most of those Marvel games were a 7. Even Marvel Ultimate Alliance. All those things, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, X-Men Legends, they were solid. None of them, until Spider-Man, ever touched anything to the level and quality of an Arkham. Arkham is the Michael Jordan of superhero video games. And that's the only argument anyone would ever need. That's one of the greatest games ever. Not just one of the great like comic book games. The Arkham games, Arkham 1, Arkham City, and even you look at Arkham Knight, the time is done really well for that game. That trilogy is on another level. And there's nothing that Marvel's done to touch that. Even post Arkham, like the Spider-Man games, great. Guardians of the Galaxy, great. Marvel Rivals, fantastic. But they're not Arkham. And listen, as a DC fan, all we have is Batman, and that's both in comics and in video games. So so hopefully when the movie comes out, Superman, we have Superman as well. But yes, Karma, um, giving you a hard time. But yes, for the most part, they have a better output. Like they've been more consistent over the years and stuff. But I think those Arkham games kind of like washed away all like the Marvel games that had ever been made. Like once that game came out, there was no discussion. It's kind of like when the Dark Knight came out. Like when the Dark Knight came out, it was like that was without question the greatest comic book movie ever made. Now there's been other things that have like come out since, and I still think the Dark Knight is the best comic book movie of all time. But now there's a little bit more of an argument, and I would say the same thing with like DC. Like since the Spider-Man games have come out and all those kind of things, you can have a solid argument. But I think when those first two Arkham games were out, there was not even a discussion. Like it eliminated Marvel from that like gaming conversation. But yeah, appreciate you all. Thank you. If anyone sees, and I'm gonna put a post about this because I forgot to address it in the stream. Black Joker, who won the giveaway, they have not claimed it yet. So if they don't claim it by Friday, I'm gonna put a post up, just to remind them, tag them in it. If they don't claim it by Friday, we're gonna run it again. Just watch I think it was either last week or the week before's live stream, where we talked about a couple things. Just comment what you've been reading, and I'll run that giveaway again. And if someone else wins, I'll get that to you. As long as you're in the United States, I'll send that to you. It is a signed copy of Superman Unlimited #1 from Dan Slott, and also a signed copy by Dennis Camp of Absolute Martian Manhunter #1. So again, appreciate you guys. Have a good night. Thank you to everyone that showed up, even for a second, commented. Really appreciate it.